Hello friends, I hope you're having a great week. If you looked at my channel description or introduction video, you may have noticed something called Eurovision and wondered what even that is. Eurovision is a song contest that's made between European countries, some Eurasian countries like Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Armenia, Australia, and in 2027 also Canada. The host country is always the previous winner. For example, Bulgaria won the competition this year and it will host Eurovision in 2027. There may be some exceptions if the winner country doesn't have enough funds or, in the most common case, currently in a war. Even though Ukraine has won competition in 2022, UK had to host it since it was the runner-up and Ukraine was in a serious war. If something like that happens, runner-ups do the winner's duty, hosting. There's always a deadline for the participating countries to declare whether they will compete or not that year. Competing countries change every year with the effects of political and economical issues. Belarus, Russia, but Russia is an exception because it got banned from EBU, European Broadcasting Union, which is the organizer, as a cause of the Russia-Ukraine war. North Macedonia, Slovakia, Turkey, which is my home country, Hungary, Andorra, and Bosnia-Herzegovina. Oh, I forgot Morocco, have once competed in the contest but haven't made a re-debut for a while. The controversial existence of Israel in the competition has made several important countries withdraw from Eurovision in order to boycott. In 2026, Spain, Slovenia, Iceland, the Netherlands, and Ireland were in this group, and Belgium seems like it is interested in joining them since it made a statement about not joining Eurovision in 2027. In 2026, Bulgaria, Moldova, and Romania return. Next year, North Macedonia will, and Canada is going to debut, probably getting influenced by my dream country, Australia, which is a topic of another video. And as I remember, Hungary was eager to compete in Eurovision 2027, but I'm not sure, so don't be so sure, please. And so, let's get to the point. Some countries make national competitions to choose their artists. Some of the competitions are Albania's Festivali Këngës, Sweden's Melodifestivalen, Denmark's Dansk Melodi Grand Prix, and Estonia's Estilaul. These competitions are usually held between December and March. By the way, there are a few, by few I mean like 15 or 17 more competitions, but there are one of the headliners. These competitions can be watched from their YouTube channels or Eurovision's YouTube channel. For example, Croatia's Dora was one of them, or some of them can't be watched from YouTube, so you have to watch them from other websites in the web. However, some countries like Cyprus do not make a national competition, instead do an internal selection. This means that experts from their country choose the best artists to represent their country. I honestly prefer watching national final nights because they are entertaining and satisfying, especially if you vote on your favorite singer, like me. For me, one of the most annoying things in the whole world is not being able to send votes in a national final just because you live abroad and can't send SMS. That's why I like finals that have a website which I also can use. So, countries choose their representatives, alright, but then what happens? A recap video that contains every country is made by Eurovision. By the way, if you want to go to Eurovision next year, we'll talk about this in the end of the episode. The Holy Eurovision week always starts with the turquoise carpet on a Sunday. In this day, there isn't a competition, but artists and their back dancers, etc. show up, give a quick interview, and interact with fans. This is always organized in the host city center. For instance, in 2026, it was held in Vienna City Hall in front of Burgtheater. I don't know if I pronounced it right. Then there's the first semi-final on a Tuesday. The voting has changed this year, so a new podcast will definitely increase your knowledge. Let's say that this year 36 countries will participate. An important name that you should know is the Big Five, or with its last change, Big Four. Big Four consists of UK, Italy, France, Germany, and formerly also Spain. In my opinion, it's something really unfair and an example of nepotism, but its main thing is the biggest financial and weaver support. So basically, these 4 or 5 countries give the most financial and political support to the EBU, which is the organizer of the Eurovision Song Contest. So the organizers just want to give them a raise in the point system and just a little more flexibility so that they can score more points on the final, or as they think, which is not the case. So, but what happened to the Big Four, and why do I even call these a nepotism? Big Four doesn't compete in the semifinals. They just sing their songs like a show. Like, in NFL, there's always a halftime show, and most famous singers, like in this year, Bad Bunny and Kendrick Lamar last year, and it doesn't have a direct effect in the scores, right? But they just increase the amount of viewers. It's something kind of like that, and it's really, really unserious for a competition this important. Anyways, let's get to our main topic. So, we talked about the Big Four or the Big Five. Depends on which year you started working on Eurovision rules. And one of these countries that have a privilege, but only for 1 year, usually, is the host country. For example, Bulgaria doesn't normally compete in the same conditions as Big Four, and I will talk about that just a minute later. But just because they will be the host country in 2027, they will have the exact same privileges as the Big Four this year, but only for this year. If they don't win 2027, then they won't have these privileges again until they win again. So yes, it used to be Big Five and the host country, the VIP club. We can also call them by this nickname. But now it is the Big Five. So Big Five consists of Big Four and the host country. So I will call them VIP club. So the VIP club, except for them, countries compete in 2 halves. One half in the first semifinal, the other one in the second semifinal. In every semifinal, no matter the number of contestants, 10 countries, except for the VIP countries, so the host country and the Big Four, go to the final. You can't vote for the country that you're currently in, but it doesn't count like this. For example, your nationality is, Estonian, and you're currently watching the show from Lithuania, and you want to vote for your home country, Estonia, but since your IP is not currently in Estonia, you can vote. And so what's the maximum amount of votes that you can give to support your favorite countries and artists at one show at a time? So it used to be 20 until 2026, but since this year, now the maximum amount of votes that you can give is 10, and it's honestly something really sad, but no, it's also kind of good. It's also another topic for one of the next videos. And if you vote from a non-participant country, your votes are counted as one country. So let's say you vote from Italy. It counts as 1 point from the weavers of Italy. If you watch this from Bulgaria, then your vote is processed as a vote from Bulgaria's televote. But if you're giving vote from any non-participant country, so it can be a really far and distant country, like for example South African Republic, or I don't know, like Mexico or something, or Turkey, which is a country that used to participate in Eurovision long time ago, it still counts as a vote of the rest of the world. So think of like this: even though the vote from rest of the world is, for example, 1 million, but the vote from Finland is only 5,000, the effect is still the same. Alright? And you know how the voting system works. I'll tell you now. So the points that you can get from a country's jury or a televote, from the least to most, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 12. So we skip the numbers 9 and 11 and instead replace them with 10 and 12. In the semifinals, the amount of points countries get consists of half of the jury vote and televote. From like the start of 2020 or 2019 until 2025, like except for 2026, it used to be 100% televote, like no jury vote in the semifinals, which is, I think, something really unfair, because the amount of viewers from a country that live abroad really affects the points they get. For example, Romania, Moldova, Turkey, and you know, these kind of countries have really, really big amounts of like citizens who are living abroad, and this is a serious extra point for them. But what can UK do, for example? Can you think of a UK citizen who's living abroad? I can't think, like, I don't think there's even one of them. Anyways, so all the votes from international viewers is counted as one televote, as I said, like one country's televote. The 10 countries with the most points get awarded with the grand final ticket. However, hosts just say it like, for example, the next country that goes to the grand final is, and then comes the 30-second or 1-minute break. Then, for example, Malta, and this process again. Then, for example, Sweden, Bulgaria, and it goes like this until the 10th, which is the last one. Of course, juries take a deep breath while making viewers even more excited, but they don't tell which country got points from other countries. For example, they don't say like Bulgaria, and Bulgaria got 12 points from this, 10 points from that. No, that's only special for the grand final. And in the grand final, if even if they didn't make it to the grand final, they have to vote. Juries have to vote. A famous person always tells which countries get points from their country. For example, some countries make these people the previous contestant. I don't remember which one of them, but as I remember, it was, for example, Germany all the time, this year, last year, always the previous time. For example, in 2025, they went to this contest with Abor and Tina. They are sister and brothers, siblings, and they said our country gives 12 points to X country. And at like all the times, like in the 70s or 80s, they used to say like, our 1 point goes to this, 2 point goes to this. But for a really long time, the 1, 2, 3, and all the points until 12 all already you can already see them on the screen, so the people don't have to say these, but they just say our 12th point goes to, because the 12th point is like the golden point, the most important point, and so it is a really political contest, as almost everyone knows. So just an example, Cyprus always gives 10 points to Greece, or Greece always gives a point, like maybe not 12 but 10 or 8 to Cyprus, or like Austria, Germany, and other countries that really love each other, like Australia and UK and some other ones. So it is really guessable, or Azerbaijan and Israel, because they trade some really important gases with each other. Yes, like you can understand the country's relationships even by just looking at the votes. For example, me, my mom, and my dad tried to guess which country got 12 points from which country at the previous years, according to the historical political things. Yes. With the jury winner selected. So think of that. All of the countries' juries told us the points that they give to other countries. So what now? Okay, the half of the section is over, and now the televote will be announced. So in this time, juries don't tell, but instead, think of that. There's Malta, right? So each year, 2 hosts are being selected. Some of the years, the hosts are woman and woman. Sometimes men and men. Sometimes woman and men. And this year, it was woman and men. So the woman host was Victoria Swarovski, and the man host was Michael Ostrovsky. I don't know if I pronounced it right. And so one of the hosts tell, for example, Malta got from the televotes, and here comes like a 30-second break. Then they say, for example, 30 points, 100 points. Okay, great, but in which order do the hosts tell us the amount of points, the televote points that the countries got? So the order is, there's two blocks of announcing the points: the jury points and the televote points. So the hosts start announcing the televote points from the country with the least points at the jury vote. For example, this award of having the last place in the grand final goes to UK, since they only gotten 1 point from Ukraine, only 1 point and 0 points from the televote points. The jury started announcing the televote points from the UK, and then they went like the second least point, the third least point, to Bulgaria, which had the most jury points alongside with the most televote points. So they obviously became the winner. And the second one became Israel. I guess his name was, oh my god, I forgot his name. Anyway, so now that you know the rules, I guess you can explore the fascinating world of Eurovision in the next days until I upload my next podcast. So if you want to go to Eurovision 2027, here are some tips. So the host city will probably be Sofia, and the second option as I remember, was Burgas. Yeah, it's definitely Burgas. And I'm almost 100% sure that they will choose Sofia, because next year it was a competition between Vienna and Innsbruck, but they obviously chose Vienna, because like why Innsbruck? It's obviously Vienna. And this time the competition is 10 times more obvious. Like of course Burgas is also a great city, but not as big and cosmopolitan as Sofia, which is I think one of the best cities in Europe to host Eurovision. But until we know the exact dates, we should wait to make the reservation of our hotels and trains, or like other transportation tickets. But I think they will announce it until September. Like, yeah, definitely until September, because they announced it last year in the middle of August, and I was checking it definitely every day. So I'm also checking every day because I'm a psychopath person. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. And I think it will be a great Eurovision year, since we have gotten more knowledge about the rules. I think you can thank me, but no, you can thank me by subscribing me and watching my videos more often. But no, you're welcome. Anyways, I hope you had fun while listening to my podcast. And oh my god, it has been almost 22 minutes. No, it wasn't what I meant to be. Anyways, see you in the next podcast. Hope you spend a nice week and a nice summer holiday. See you next week.